Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your service. How are you all? Are you enjoying the sun? Have you got any sun? It's absolutely blazing down here again. You know, lockdown weather's been spectacular. I think we should have a lockdown for like 6 months every year at this rate. And look at it's cultivating my barbarian hair as well. You know, lots of is it vitamin D you get from the sun? I always forget. But look at that, it's coming on in absolutely OTT Braveheart style. But of course, Mad Mel wore a wig for Braveheart. This is real. It's a real Barnet. So folks, yeah, I'm sitting out here luxuriating in the sun, having spent another agonising morning trying to get onto the Works laptop. And yes, you guessed it, failing absolutely dismally. You know, thank God that, the infrastructure of the UK doesn't depend on what I do, because otherwise we would back to the Stone Age and my hair would fit right in. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? But hey, while there's sun and while there's whiskey to be supped, there's always a silver lining. So, but I've not been, just sitting back and staring at a completely useless laptop screen. No, I haven't. No, 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 no. I've used my time constructively. And you can see behind me, this is the one of the luxurious gardens in the grounds of Kilt-Mansion. And Mrs. Kilt-Man has been on at me for forever, basically, to cut the grass and retrieve the garden. But there is a garden here. You just can't see it for the jungle that's grown up through it, around it, and over the top of it. But I have done some stuff today. And what I've done, and I'll show you, the debris is all around. But basically, the house is back that way. It's behind you guys. You guys are sitting with your backs to our doomed conservatory. But the view you see behind me, trees. Somewhere there, in that corner there is a shed. And I've managed to unearth the door to it. Don't know why, because nobody wants to go in there. Jesus, it's full of spiders and fucking lizards and all sorts of reptilian and arachnid terrors. No way am I going in there. And I'm a big fan of like bladed weapons, as you know, swords, axes, knives, killing stuff. But inside there are saws and axes. Well, I mean proper axes. Big scythes and horrible wicked secateurs and shears and things. Now, the problem with that is that I had to get up into the tree over there. I'll show you it properly in a minute, but I had to get up into that because what the problem is where we are now, this bit here gets completely sheltered, shaded by the trees. When the sun does its traverse across the skies, and Mrs. Kilt-Man finally gets a little bottle of Budweiser. I'll sit here having done the day's work. And in her case, she is working. She's working from home, so she's working hard. And today, by the way, is her non-working day. And what's she done all morning? Working on her laptop. It's almost like she's teasing me. Well, mine still works. But ha ha ha. The laugh's on you because I don't give a shit. I'm actually quite happy mine doesn't work. But there you go. The will is there, but the tools are shite. What can I do with that? So she likes to come out here, sort of late afternoon, and with her little bottle of beer and enjoy the afternoon, what remains of it, in the sunshine. But what happens is, all our trees here tend to overhang and it obscures the sun. So she's been banging on at me, get up there and take them down. You're trained, you know how to do this. And the weird thing is, I am trained how to do it. When I left school, we're talking back in the mid-80s here, and I was like 16 years old, with wet behind the ears and a complete and utter little urchin gobshite who didn't give a fuck. Kind of like what I am right now, really. Just I've got slightly more hair now, and I wear a shorter skirt. But and I did get a YTS scheme. That YTS is a youth training scheme, which loosely translated means slave labour. It means people who were school leavers who didn't have a job to go to were launched onto these things where an employer would get one of you guys, and all he'd pay is a minimal bit of wage. I think, what did we get? I think it was £36 every week. Or was it every 2 weeks? Do you know what? I can't remember. But the thing is, it was buttons. It was absolute piss poor buttons. That's all it was. But they would use you for like 4 days of the working week, and then one day you'd go to college to learn, some kind of actual skill, some kind of, you get a qualification in that. And I got City and Guilds in landscape gardening. City and Guilds. Does that even exist anymore? I don't even know what the hell it means. It's some archaic fucking term. City and Guilds, in chivalry, in axe preparation. City and Guilds in being an executioner. That sort of shit, I don't know. And so I did this in landscape gardening. And the guy I work for, I'm not going to name him because he might still be alive. I hope he's still alive. But when I last saw him, he was on his last legs, and that was back in the 80s. His name rhymes with Ned Booyan. Some of you watching this might actually go, I think I know who that is. Well, whatever. And he was great. He was great. He looked like a gypsy. He had absolute, he was a white guy, but he had afro hair, an afro moustache, afro eyebrows. I presume everywhere was afro on him. But he was a great fella. And he had, what do you call him? A Doberman called Dusky. Or should I say, it rhymes with Husky. Don't incriminate anybody here. And but he was great, And we'd go out and do jobs all around the Wirral, all around Merseyside. We had a contract to go and cut the grass and all the garage, the petrol stations, forecourts on what is the East Lancs Road over on Merseyside, Liverpool, neck of the woods, and that was quite a few garages, and petrol-driven mower, and I'd be doing all this, usually in a baking sun. You'd be up at 6 in the morning, and he had, the way his house was done, he had he rented the 2 gardens on the neighbours either side of him, so he had a fucking huge garden, and he had he had tents, and he had greenhouses, he had sheep, he had goats, he had geese, he had chickens, he had all sorts, and he had all these potting on sheds. Potting on? What be that, Kilt-Man, you say? Potting on? Were you smoking pot? Well, I feel like I was, because I lost so many fucking days to just sitting in one of these baking hot greenhouses, getting these little plastic, plant pots, and putting, soil in it, and a bit of them fertiliser, little white balls of fertiliser, and you put the plant had outgrown one size of pot, had to be potted on. Next one. You'd spend all day doing that. That would be if there was no actual work to do. He also got me mucking out the goats. The goats were lovely. They were great. Goats are fantastic. Goats are really, really sociable animals. And I'm no naughtiness here. Don't be making it your own stories. But they were great. But when it comes to mucking them out, fuck me, that was one of the worst things I've ever done. And I've been around dead bodies. And don't make up your own version on that either. But use the pitchfork, you had to go in there, and I get all the... And you'd walk into the goat shed, goat pen, big enclosed sort of shed, and you go in there, and you couldn't smell anything at all, and the goats would all be outside, and it would initially seem okay, and you'd plunge this pitchfork in, you'd step onto, a fake floor, like sort of that high. It was all sawdust, straw, and all that kind of stuff, and bedding, which was like newspapers and crap like that, to form another layer. And you'd start getting through all this, and there'd be big bins outside, and you'd put them into the bins. But as you dug down, all the piss and the shit which had seeped through, the stench would hit you. Oh, God! You think of people wearing masks now. Jesus, there are. You could wear 10 space helmets and a deep sea diver's helmet as well, and it still wouldn't be enough. And a burqa underneath all that, just no chance. That got through, and it went right to there, top of your nose, right into your eyes, right into your lungs, back of your throat. Oh God, there was no way you'd ever get used to that. But I did like the goats, so I put up with it. Like I was getting £36 a week, or whatever Fucking hell, it was. 36 pence, it may as well have been. And by the way, I think in those days, you could actually get a drink behind a bar for 36 pence as well. And that's one of the good things about working with Ned, shall we say. Because every dinner time, we would get in the van and we'd drive off and we'd go to a boozer and we'd spend about 2 hours in the pub. And he'd buy all the drinks, he'd buy your dinner, a ploughman's lunch or whatever the hell was on offer. But he'd buy all that. So that's why I'm never going to knock this guy, because I had a whale of a time. I really, really enjoyed it. During the summertime, it was great because the sun was out and I'd have no top on. I was only, 16 at the time, but I was doing hefty weights at the time as well. So the growth hormone was there, and I was looking fucking huge, And I had like long hair as well. I had like shaved, pure mullet, pure 80s mullet, new romantic style, all shaved here and spiked to hell on top and all the way down the back. But during my time working with him, what came out? What film came out? Was it Commando? Was it Arnie in Commando? Whatever it was, some big heroic muscle-bound guy suddenly appeared on the big screen with a flat top. So that was it. Wow, that's it. Whoa, my hair got whapped off down to a fucking high and tight flat top. And man, I felt fucking awesome, huge. And the girls would be going past, and you'd be digging, post hole digging and all this kind of stuff, like, and turfing in the sun, wolf whistles. It was great. Woo and all that shit. I mean, I still get that now, even now I'm 50 and looking like a fucking caveman, but because of the kilt, and I mean, it is the kilt. It ain't me. It's not what's in the kilt. It's just the kilt itself and what it represents. But I did love it. Wintertime was fucking horrendous. And when it was raining and you'd be sitting off, usually in someone's conservatory or someone's kitchen, because you couldn't do any work. Well, you did, but if it was really a downpour, then obviously you have to sit off drinking mugs of tea and just sitting there, biscuits, and that was tedium, I'll be honest. The actual grafting, didn't mind at all. Sound, loved it. But there was one particular job, which is what this has reminded me of, and I did a load of Texas Chainsaw reviews, and you've got one coming up, by the way, just an advance warning. In a few hours' time, I'll be doing another video, and it is Texas Chainsaw. It's another mask. And at the age of 16, you're not legally allowed to use a chainsaw. Now, that may have changed now in this day and age. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But at 16, you were not allowed to. Now, we got a contract to do a load of houses, a load of gardens in the Frodsham area. The Frodsham area. That's like a bit of a posh side. I'm on the Wirral, the Wirral Peninsula. It sounds awesome, doesn't it? Not Bonnie, Scotland, as some of you people seem to think, but no. Merseyside. The Wirral Peninsula. But I'm on the side that faces Liverpool, the best side. But the poshest side is on the other side. And there's a place called Frodsham, which borders onto Cheshire. I think it does. I don't know. Look at that. I don't know. And it's kind of a well-to-do sort of place, and it's built on a hill, and the hill has a bit of a sort of like drop-off like that, and there are some houses with big long gardens which end upon that sort of that cliffhanger, and there was some, like, I think 40 to 60 foot trees, not sure what kind of trees they were, but lots of them in a line, and they basically wanted them trimming down the top branches, taking out, because they were, well, this is the point. What have I done today? I've took down a lot of the branches to release the sunshine upon this area here. And that's what I was doing back then. They wanted a bit more light coming through. And just, they were top heavy, these trees. So, Ned Booyan says to me, "Right, son, go on now. I know you haven't done it before, but it's easy. I'm old, I'm knackered, I can't get up there, but you can." What? What do you want me to do exactly? 16-year-old lad. What? Wearing pure Vietnam combat gear. That was my trade at the time. That was my image. I was a Vietnam veteran, albeit 16 years old, and on the Wirral. And he said, "Yeah, all you do, look, just climb up that one. got your chainsaw here. Gave me a chainsaw. I'd never used one. I'd never even seen one in real life outside of movies. You know, the blade was about yay big. Yay big. What's that? About 18 inches, something like that. Maybe a bit more. I mean, I'm always quoting inches. Mrs. Kilt-Man hasn't got a clue about measurements. So I'm huge. But so he gave us that, and you know, when he started it up, the noise of it, oh fuck me, that was terrifying. And I went, and that chain going round. So you want me to do what? And I'm looking up at these trees, and they're like that. Can you see that one? It's the sun really getting in your eyes there. Like that. They're right up in the gods. And like Zeus was sitting up there, you know, scratching his arse, saying, "The fuck are you doing here, man? Get your ass back down there and look at pornography like everybody else your age." And he said, "Yeah, just climb up there. You'll be alright." What? Now, I now know how you do this. Because I did do it later on, but not on YTS. And you climb up first, and you get your safety line, you hook it over the top, and you have your safety line down there. You're anchored up in about 4 different places. You have your chainsaw strapped behind you. You have it the motor running, but the chain not going. And what you do, you go top, and you begin, and you cut down, trim, come down. You've got your harness on it. You lean back in your harness. I had a harness. I had a rope to get up there. Well, I'm good at climbing trees, you know. I'm a fucking, you know, acrobatic, agile little fuckwit, you know. Bit devil may care, bit cavalier. And so we said, "Go on, I'll be down here, son. Just, you know, I'll catch you. What? That's about 60 foot high. If I drop and land on you, we're both going through to Australia. Jesus." But I believed him. "Son, come on, there'll be a little bonus in it for you. I'll get an extra pint tonight when we finish." Now that was cool, because Ned Booyan always seemed to manage to chat up ladies in the pub as well. And like, I was no shabby thing when it came to, like, you know, ladies, even at that age. So it was always great when you finished work, then you went to the pub. It was always kind of cool. You know, my mum and dad would be going like, "How many hours do you work a day?" And like, even my dad, who was a bit of a slave driver himself, like, and believed, well, if it's making brass, then that's all that matters. Bring home the bacon. And to be honest, if he knew what I was getting up to after we finished work, he'd have been proud too. But there's a story about that as well. Oh, come on to that. And you know what I'm like. Tangents, deviations, meanderings. So yeah, I was coerced by more drinky poos afterwards, and the promise of ladies. So up I shinned, you know, up this bloody tree, the first one. Fuck me, it was terrifying. And I was hooked up. I was in a kind of slingback harness, and I climbed up. And I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't give me any direction as to what you're supposed to do. But I got up over the first branches, I got up the next branch, and I'm going, looking down, and he's going like, further up. And I'm going, what? He's going, up. Hey! I couldn't fucking hear him. And the view was spectacular. Now, I don't have vertigo, I don't worry about heights. I've got a specific phobia about ladders. I don't like ladders at all. But I've scaled mountains, I've abseiled, I've done all sorts of fucking jumped out planes. You know, it doesn't bother me in the least. But when it comes to ladders, I can't stand them. So in a way, that was lucky. I just climbed up and like, hey, the tree ain't going anywhere. Because you got to remember, once you fired that chainsaw up, it's like, you know, don't lean out on, there's the branch out there, and lop that. Down you come. None too pleasantly. And but you know, that was a bit of common sense. You know, something I don't normally tend to have. But so I managed to start doing some branches. But I'll tell you now, the sound of a chainsaw when it's that close to you. I mean, you're meant to wear ear defenders as well. Did I have any? Did I? Fuck. I didn't have any. No safety equipment whatsoever. None. What I was doing was absolutely, totally illegal. I was underage using a chainsaw. I was being slave driven by a tyrannical boss. No, he was a great boss, but he was just abusing his power because he couldn't get up there, basically. I'll send him, be alright. And back in those days, no one fucking gave a shit anyway. So, I was there. No ear defenders, no safety precautions. First branch comes down, look out below! And he's down below going, what? Hey! Whoa! Fucking thing comes down. And then I went further up. The thing is, you're meant to start from the top down. That's how you should do it. Anyway, it was a horrendously difficult job, and by the time I come down that tree, I mean, that took ages. That took hours just to do that, and there was about 10 more, maybe I think it was more than about 15, 16 trees, and they're all on a line, all overlooking this drop and this massive view. Wales was over that way, I think it was, from the angle I was facing. It was tremendous. You see Snowdonia and all that, like awesome stuff, like. But after like it didn't do it in one day. This took a week to do this. But I was getting more and more ambitious and more confident doing it. You know, I was leaping from branch to branch, and like these things, if anyone nowadays who is a what do you call it, a tree surgeon, you know, saw this, oh, they just poked their eyes out, you know, and despair because it was so, you know, foolhardy, dangerous, and utterly illegal in every fucking country on the planet. And but it was great. It was great. Did I get a bonus? Did I get no? Did I get more beer? Yeah. Did I get laid? Yeah. So in those respects, it was great. But chainsaws, I've used one several years afterwards in a similar sort of scenario, and I had the proper harness and the safety lines, and I had an accident with that as well. That what didn't happen to me that first time around, totally devil may care and illegal. I actually didn't have any issues with it. It didn't go wrong. I didn't cause any injuries. I didn't hurt myself. I came down safely. I'll tell you what though, the inner thighs. Now don't make up your own stories again. Don't be doing that. But coming back down, oh man, because he had me doing the lower branches, I was forever. I was ripping the grip that you do with your legs hooked around it and all that. Just don't forget, I had the harness, but I wasn't sitting in any kind of chair, and leaning out was a bit dodgy, shall we say. So I was tree hugging with every bit of my physiology, and come back down, I had huge bruises and welts on my inner thighs. Oh man, that went good. And of course, there were some bits, you were snapping some smaller branches just by going up the tree. So coming back down, yeah, I think some of you can imagine there'd be some, forgive that, but there'd be some spiked out little branchlets which you're going to sit on. Oh, shit, that went good. That went not good at all. Oh, I just need to have a little one of these just to get over the memory of that. No, I'm still not over the memory. Hang on. It's a bit better. So yeah, it was a very exciting yet incredibly dodgy time. Ned Booyan, by the way, I come into work one morning and his wife greeted me at the door. He just had a house, but I say he had the two gardens, the houses either side of him. He had them rented out, and they were long gardens. So the way he had that, it was huge. It was like a mini farm, and he had so much stuff going on there. He had aviaries and all sorts. Anyway, I've said all that before. And I come in one morning, and we had jobs to do. I knew what the jobs were the next day, and we were travelling out as well. And his wife said, "Oh, Ted's not very well. You might not see him today, but he just said to go in the greenhouse and just do some potting on, yeah." Fucking hell, so okay. Well, at least I'll be home early then, because if you're doing that, then you were kind of just doing a set day. You weren't stuck out in the back of beyond. You weren't in North Wales. You weren't in Southport. It's fucking miles away, doing someone's garden. Anyway. So I was doing all this, and then round about, I was having me dinner. I brought some butties, and I was sitting there having a butty, just sitting off, and the door, this sort of plastic screen door opened, and this albino stranger stood there. I went, "You all right, son?" I was like, "Fuck, what the fucking hell are you?" And it was my boss. And this guy who had this afro wire wool hair all over his body and this big, he had one of those military 70s military corporals moustaches. Some people will know what I mean here. Nothing under here, but the moustache came down like that. Not a handlebar, but just down like that and under the chin. And that's what he had. And what confronted me was a man whose hair had turned white overnight. Every single hair on his body. I didn't inspect, but it was kind of obvious. His eyebrows, that moustache, his afro hair, his nose hair, his ear hair, the hair on his shoulders had turned white overnight. When they had been, I kid you not, jet black. There was a few little streaks of grey in there, but overnight. I can't, overstate that enough. Overnight. No, this is a genuine thing. Your pigment can change. I think he didn't explain to me, but his wife did. That is because of stress, financial stress. Yeah, talk to me. Not financial stress. Talk to me. Fuck's sake, paying me £36. Fucking hell for death-defying bloody jobs. 60 foot up in the air with a chainsaw. For fuck's sake, come on now, and unleashing me upon wild, deranged older women. God love you. God love you, Ned. And but yeah, the pigment can change because your body, something in your body can then what is it now? Rebel and fight against the pigments in your skin, and it can change your skin. But it definitely changes your hair. But overnight, oh, it was a shock. Because I started laughing. I went, "You just sprayed so what's this?" But he didn't look well either. Anyway, that was at the end of my sort of. You only do 12 months doing it, and by that stage, I'd applied for the U.S. Marine Corps. I'd also applied for the job that I did take. The job I described in a previous video how all that came about, where I met Mrs. Kilt-Man, and the rest of that is fucking history. I'm surprised I haven't gone fucking white, And but yeah, it was scary sight, and but they were great days, totally foolhardy. And I know I'd said to you in a few previous videos regarding Texas Chainsaw that I was going to tell you a chainsaw story. That's it, people. That I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, but I had a great time. And I say tree by tree, I gained more confidence, and it was wonderful. And they were quite rich and well-to-do, the people whose house this was, and they'd come out. They had a great big lawn, although the lawn did slope. I always thought that was a bit shit. You couldn't really play footy on that, really. It was kind of wrong, because someone's going to be at this. Anyway, I was thinking, Mum, I think I even suggested, can't we just, put some topsoil in and raise, and make the garden level? But they weren't having it. And they'd come out with like a big silver, platter with drinks on it, with lemonade, stuff like that. And they'd be saying, what's your name again for the purpose of this story? Ned. Ned, would you like a beer? And he got a fucking bottle of beer, cheeky bastard. He was driving every day as well. He'd have the dog, Dusky, Husky, not Dusky, Husky, the dog. Let's get these nom de plumes correct. Would be in the and she was great. She'd be bouncing around, and she was good as gold. Whatever job we went to, no, never a lead, and no seatbelts either back in those days. I mean, I think you were meant to. Can't remember when the law came in, but you were. Anyway, we didn't. And drink driving, fucking hell, mate. He drank more than I did. I don't drive, which is why I drink all the time. But he was drinking all the time. And it was a bit of a concern occasionally when he went over a roundabout, and all the rakes and the hose, and the hose as in the gardening tool, not streetwalkers. All that came flying over the seats into the front, and we could have been completely impaled. But they were great days, great days. Anyway, I meant to show you the shit I've been doing. This might not work, because as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of jungle foliage to get through here, which is why I'm wearing jungle camouflage, so I could blend in and the trees wouldn't see me coming. That was the plan. Right. If you look up there, you look into that. Yes, you look. Yeah. You know, you people out there who've got like fantastically manicured, gardens are thinking, you kidding me? You live like that? Well, it's lockdown. All my servants have gone. They're all socially distanced. I've not got shears or chainsaws or whatever that reached as far as their houses to here. So, what can I do? It's down to me, innit? And even though I've got city and guilds in landscape gardening. So yeah, I've lopped loads out of that. Loads out of that. There's still more to do. And if we look down there, I've took those trees down as well. So yeah, there's a lot of shit that's happened. And anyway, folks. Oh, by the way, I was up inside that, and I'm gonna have. Can you see what I'm pointing at there? Inside all that there, and I was trying to get up into this too, and I will have to do that at some point because I have not taken enough down. Anyway, folks. In the meantime and in between time, and I was only using that. What are you holding with a knife? Name it. Folks, in the meantime and in between time, you guys stay safe, take it easy, be happy, be healthy, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and drink whiskey at every opportunity you possibly can. Watch out for big trees and chainsaws. It's not a good combination. Unless there's ladies as a prize afterwards. Folks, I'm going to see you all. Laters. Chainsaws? Albinos? What's he on about?